What's up? We're here. We're live. We're ready to rock. So we've got quite a bit of homework from last night. So hopefully you did some of it. Hopefully you tried to get everything set up. Getting everything set up is the hard part. And so I want you to remember that, because everything afterwards comes a little easier once you get these things set up. So we've got a couple things that we can cover today, and we're going to jump into it. Yesterday, we kind of got cut off on the market because it didn't want to activate for me. And this is what happens sometimes with AI, is making it so it doesn't want to do the things that you've already taught it to do. So I did get that updated. I sent out all of the prompts yesterday for you so that you'll have at least a shell of the prompts that you can play with, add in your information, upload your information. And so I wanted to see if anybody had done the voice prompt or the QC prompt or any of the other ones. That's kind of what we're going to focus on today as I walk through this. It's going to be more of a deep dive into the prompts that we did put together and how to organize them, how to call on them, how to make sure that they're pulling the information and all of that kind of stuff. So we'll go ahead and jump into the slides. And so if you've got any questions, if you've been playing with it and you've got any questions, make sure that you are asking those questions. Questions in here will help everyone else. So there is no dumb questions. Make sure that you're asking what you need to ask to get this set up. So we're going to dive into the RAG activation today and get a little deeper on that. And so if you've got any questions as we go, like I said, ask away. So today's outcomes, we're going to make sure that we're building those prompts precise. We're going to be able to stack the building blocks, and then you're going to be able to generate agent-facing or buyer-facing DMs. And your homework is actually going to be to utilize AI to create a message to send to someone on Facebook or Instagram, and then go send the message on Facebook and Instagram. So as we talked about, our building blocks recapped, BB1 is QC, BB2 is voice, BB3 is the audience, and BB4 is the market. So the QC sets it up so that it produces the language and outcomes we want. The voice is the tone and the ability to speak like you. The audience is who you're talking to, and then the market is going to be fine-tuning it to your location or a location that you wanted to market to. So we talked about memory and projects. So context window is basically what does ChatGPT remember and how or why. So yesterday we talked about, actually it might have been Monday, we talked about the amount of words essentially that ChatGPT can remember at each level of paid account. So the free version was 8,000. The plus version was 24,000, and the pro version was 96,000. So what we can do to help alleviate some of this is create projects. And I touched on this a little bit, but what we're going to do is once we create our building block prompts, I'm actually going to move over to ChatGPT and show you this. Once we move over to ChatGPT, I can show you inside the projects. Inside the project, you can create a new project. When you create this new project, you would name it, I've named mine one.buildingblocks, so it stays at the top kind of thing. You can check the settings box. So default projects can access memories from outside the chats and vice versa. Project only means a project can only access its own memories. So the basic one we're going to set up with a default. So as you are introducing yourself to this stuff, we want to set it up as default so that it can access memories that you've created to make sure that you're not missing information. Once we get a little deeper, and this will be in the second session of these courses that I'm putting together as well, the advanced class. This one's the basics. We'll be doing project only. So we're basically going to create a voice inside a project, and then we can go into that project, create a new chat in that project that references that voice. So we would upload our disc profile and enneagrams and our transcripts all into the project so that it knows how to speak inside that project. So right now we're just going to be pulling on the chats as we pull them up. So we're going to set it up as a default, and then you would just name it one building blocks like I have on the left side, and then you click create project. So building blocks is here. That would then be an empty project. The chats that you're using to create the prompts that we're talking about, so the 1-QC and market, buyers, voice, all of that stuff, you're going to click the 3 dots next to that chat and you click rename. And so then you would name it BB-step 1 if it's the QC one with QC in parentheses. And then we want to move that into the project. So we're actually going to, inside the chat, we can then move it. Now it's not showing me that. So we're going to see how we can do that. So you could actually build the building blocks folder first, then you'd have your chat, and clicking add files, that kind of stuff. So you can add this stuff right in here. So you're basically going to have all of these prompts inside your building blocks folder so you know where they are when you can access them. If you want to edit them or update them or anything like that, you're able to go back and make sure that those things are where you want them to be at all times. So to be able to utilize these things, we just go new chat, and now we can do activate step 1. And actually, I want to do it word for word. So I explained this a little bit yesterday. So we get to activate that. Activate BB step 2. Voice. And I need to be able to type. And then we can activate BB step 3. And as I said before, we'll do the buyers one, so it makes it more relevant for you as agents. So now I have my guardrails set up for how it should respond. I've got my guardrails set up for my voice and tone and delivery. So it's going to set all that up. And then I've also got the buyer profile active. So now I want to make this even more specific. Activate BB step 4 market. So now it should ask me a couple questions because it wants to know what market. And of course, it's doing this to me again. So it's going to do that again. Let's see if I can fix it with the settings that we talked about yesterday, personalization. If I can turn off reference saved memories, turn it back on. Now let's see if it'll do it for me. Nope, it's not wanting me to do it. So we can just do this, and I can show you what the market is. So it's ready as a shareable PDF. So I shared it yesterday. It shows that it's fully operational. So as you can see, sometimes this stuff just happens. And that's not a whole lot of fun for me as a presenter to be able to do that. So we'll just stick with the 3 that I have in line. So we're going to go back to this one. So we're going to be able to create, let me just start a new chat and I'll activate steps 1 through 3. So the way that you're going to be able to utilize this stuff to build bots for you in the future. So obviously I would go ahead and activate the market, and it would be St. Petersburg, Florida. And that's the way that we would want the market set up to work so that it would be relevant to our buyers in our space. The one thing that you can do here, I mean, even without this, we're going to be able to create some relevant content for first-time home buyers. So what I talked about yesterday was the prompting format, and I actually found the graphic, and I'll send this out this afternoon. So we wanted to use this graphic. So these are the prompt frameworks. So there's a few of them that we can utilize. One is called range. So it's role, aim, input, numeric target format. So you basically be able to tell it what you want it to be, what you want a numeric number to be as a target, and then what format you want it as output. CLAR, context, limits, action, result. So you're able to act as a supply chain consultant with warehouse delay logs. So basically this is just telling you how to structure your inputs. Now, I would say that the best one that I've found to utilize is role, task, context, format. So yesterday we talked about task and context and format, but the role is important as well. So when I type in here, I want to say create a bot that, so I'm gonna reverse engineer the market expert is an expert in expert on the real estate market and all things St. Petersburg, Florida. Your job will be to create relevant content for first-time home buyers in St. Pete, Florida. The output should be in blog format for my website as an expert blog writer. As an expert, as a market expert and blog writer and expert blog writer. So you want to tell it it's an expert blog writer. You will produce a 2,000 plus word blog that has SEO backed tactics, as well as the goal of drawing in people to engage with the content. Ask me any clarifying questions to produce the best outcomes. So now it's going to think on that. We're going to be able to utilize this now. Like I said, it's going to write us a blog. So perfect, strong foundation for specialized content engine. So now it's saying, before I create this, who are we speaking to? What is the tone? So again, so a lot of this stuff that we've covered now. So I've activated voice. So now I can just say, reference my voice prompt for the voice and tone. So we're going to say audience profile. So now you just go through and answer these questions, whatever questions you want to answer here. So we're going to say, are we speaking primarily to millennials or Gen Z first-time home buyers? Millennial, first-time buyers, as this is the largest group of home buyers coming into the market. So we want to fix our spelling. So see, it's asking me, what are their average price range or budget in your target market? So now I'm going to say, I'm going to actually hit shift to enter so that it enters the next question. You are the market expert, so you will know the stats better than me on average price ranges and budget. We want to, so the next question is, how knowledgeable are they? We want to assume that they have limited knowledge of buying a house and utilizing the BB Step 3 psychological profile as your guide. So number 2, voice and tone. Do you want the blog to sound educational and data-driven, market expert tone, or approachable and community-based? So we want to be a local expert that people feel comfortable asking questions of. Should I write you as you personally? Yes. So yes, use the guidelines from my voice prompt. So all I'm really doing here is guiding it back to things I've already created. And so it doesn't create any messiness because we're already creating it. So now we move on to SEO and keyword focus. What are the primary SEO targets? So this is a decision you have to make. Like what is the goal of this? Like who do you want to search it? So I would say that primary SEO targets should be easily ranked for, so that we're not competing against the huge companies. And as you are the SEO expert, you can decide what this means. So long tail keywords, now it's getting like into SEO complicated scenarios, right? Like you're the SEO expert. So I'm just going to skip that one and just let it choose its own kind of direction. So geographic scope, should the spot focus strictly on St. Petersburg and include surrounding areas like Gulfport, Seminole, Pinellas Park, or downtown Tampa? I would say let's focus entirely on St. Petersburg, so that we're very much directed at a market that we are in and want to target. And then conversion goals. I'm gonna go back to this one and say use any data that you know as the market expert. So number 5 then is asking about conversion goals. Like what are we wanting to get out of this? I'm just going to say, let's create conversations and motivations to engage with the content. So number 6 is brand and compliance notes. So this is obviously specific to who you are. I will just say align with BB step 1 QC. And then the focus, should the focus be on mortgage guidance or market lifestyle content? We're going to say make it a consumable mix between mortgage and lifestyle content. So obviously I'm a mortgage professional. It's going to produce what I want as a mortgage professional in the context of understanding buyer psychology. So now we're going to just create the bot and then we'll name it afterwards. And I realized now I'm not even showing you this on the screen. There we go. So now it's going to show this is the role of the bot. This is the purpose of the bot. This is the voice style of the bot. This is what the blog structure is going to look like. So this is basically creating that long prompt, like in order of what I sent you yesterday. This is creating that style of prompt. So before I generate the full 2,000 plus word flagship blog, meaning the first one, let's confirm one last detail. Would you like the blog to focus on? So now it's dialing in what we want it to really do. So we're able to, kind of fine tune it by it's asking me questions. So now we're going to say why millennials are buying in St. Petersburg, Florida, and what they should know before they do, or your complete 2025 guide for first-time buyers. I'm going to go with B on this one. I think I like that topic better. So now it's going to spit out a 2,000 plus word blog for us, which is something that would take you hours and hours and hours to write. So as you can see, even right away, I'm noticing that there's M dashes. And so I'm going to be telling it to remove the M dashes. So it's telling you where the sourced information is coming from. So now it's showing you why millennials are choosing St. Petersburg. It's even bringing in pictures. Showing growth and future potential, showing the real cost, breaking down affordability. So as you can see, like I told you, there's some M dashes in here. This doesn't look like it really held to my voice. So I'm going to really have it regenerate this. So now it's showing home buying simplified. Like, you think of how long this would take you to create. So now I'm going to say there are M dashes in here. Without AI tells or M dashes. Now it's going to tell me I'm right, and then it's rewriting it. So now it's showing natural rhythm, and it's re-acknowledging the BB step 1. So you're able to get outputs that you want just by reminding it that it's writing in your voice. Showing affordability. Like, think of how long this would take you to write. So now the fun part begins. We've read through it. We've skimmed through it. This is a blog that you can now add directly to your website. Top to bottom, you could add this to your website. So now it's asking you what, like, you don't have to answer these questions like we talked about. I can add meta title, meta description, internal link suggestion. So all of that stuff is SEO based stuff that you would put into the blog page behind the scenes. And then it would say featured image recommendation. So it would tell you where to get the images from. Like, this entire process took me 10 minutes, and I now have a blog written in 2,000 words, and I now have a bot ready to go. So now I will say, perfect. Let's make this an activatable bot for when I want future blogs written. Utilize as a RAG memory. So now it's going to create a RAG memory. So that's what it's thinking on. One of the cool things that I've noticed too is if you click on this, it's actually showing you what it's going to do. So it'll show the thinking process if you let it. So now it's still thinking. It may have timed out on me here. So I'm just going to stop it, and I'm going to say use activation phrase. Let's call this St. Petersburg blog bot. With activation phrase activate St. Pete blog. So now you're just going to be able to utilize this as a conversation piece. Now you can utilize it as a content creator. So the way my brain works is when these blogs are created, when I was watching all of those things be created, I now have individual video ideas for each one of those topics inside the blog. So we can do the infinite content loop that I've discussed that I sent in my bonus video yesterday, we can do this in multiple directions, right? We can take blog posts that we're creating inside ChatGPT and create videos for it, or we can take videos that we've created, take the transcript, and create blog posts. So there's multiple different directions that you can take this, and this is where your content can really take off and really, really grow into something that is a massive, widespread content piece. So I know I went pretty heavy into what we were doing there, just walking through step by step. If you've got questions for me, I'll give a little bit of a leeway here. I know we've got a few more slides, so these are just kind of what we went through over and over again here. One of the things that I would say as far as in your prompting that you really want to pay attention to is how you prompt it. So, we're so used to say, make this better. Well, what is better? We want to define exactly what we want it to do. So a terrible or bad prompt would be write me an email. A good prompt would be 5-sentence LinkedIn post for first-time buyers, friendly tone DM, right? Great post would be utilizing these prompts that we've already built to activate BB steps 1 through 3. You are a story brand trained. If you guys have ever heard of the story brand, there's 2 books out on it. It's fantastic. I would highly recommend it. Building a story brand. So you're going to be able to activate those things. Then you're going to tell it how to act. Then you're going to say, act as a story brand trained person. You've read both books. You understand all the information in it. Write me a 5-cents LinkedIn post for the first time buyers in Phoenix asking clarifying questions. So basically now, once that prompt spits out, we can go, like, once we read through this, we can say, make this friendlier. We don't want jargon or emojis. Replace generic advice with one copy paste checklist. Or if you're drifting into selling, stop and re-anchor the value first. So we want to bring value. We don't want to sell. If we're selling in our content, we're not winning. These are the different ways of doing it. So I would highly recommend that you guys work through this homework, create one new audience bot like what we just did there. And you've built, the foundation. So you've built BB steps 1 through 4 in the market and all of that stuff. And then you're able to utilize those, and you can build a new audience based off of the same prompt that I sent you yesterday for your buyers. You could build one for a more specific person. So if you're looking at investors, you would want to say investor buyers. That's a great one to build. So then you can utilize that, and then you can go generate 5 DMs using that audience to send to investor clients. So you're going to want to send to 5 investor clients or agents, whoever your target market is. And then you want to file those chats underneath a project. So if you've got an agent DMs engine that you've built, then you would file it under that project. So I'm going to leave it here for a minute. It looks like there's only a couple people left here. I got a little heavy, and people are very busy. So let me know if you've got any questions in the next few seconds here. If not, we'll go ahead and end it. And I'll get the replay and the summary out.